Don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you never miss our latest stories. I never imagined I'd be sitting here, gazing out the window with a warm cup of tea in my hands, replaying that night as if it had happened just yesterday. But some moments etch themselves so deeply into your soul that no amount of time can dull their intensity. They stay with you, just as vivid, just as raw. I was 62 years old, well past the stage of expecting surprises or chasing anything other than a good night's sleep. At this point in life, you assume you've seen it all, especially after spending nearly 2 decades at the same company. My job wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. I was the executive assistant to Daniel Carter, the CEO of a prestigious publishing house in Chicago. He was the kind of boss people admired, not because he demanded respect, but because he carried himself with quiet authority. Professional, composed, never one to blur the lines between business and personal life. Until that night, it started with a simple email. "Dinner tonight. My treat. I have something important to discuss with you." I frowned at my screen, rereading the message. Daniel never invited me to dinner. Sure, we had late nights in the office, occasionally ordering food, but this was different. This was an invitation. My first instinct was to decline. What could be so urgent that it couldn't wait until morning? But curiosity got the better of me, and before I could overthink it, my fingers had already typed a response. "Sure. What time and where?" His reply came almost immediately. 7 p.m. La Bellevue. I blinked. La Bellevue wasn't just any restaurant. It was one of the most intimate, high-end spots in the city. Candlelit tables, a pianist playing soft jazz, a menu so exclusive that reservations were made weeks in advance. A strange, restless energy settled in my stomach as I packed up my things. Was this about work? A promotion? No, that didn't make sense. I was already at the highest position I could hold. A retirement package, maybe? But why dinner at a place like that? By the time I arrived, my heart was pounding harder than it should have been for a simple meal. The hostess led me to a secluded table by the window, where Daniel was already waiting. He stood as I approached, dressed in his usual sharp suit, but something about him seemed different. There was an unfamiliar tension in the way he adjusted his cufflinks and smoothed his tie. "You look lovely tonight," he said as I took my seat. I let out a light laugh, brushing off the compliment. "Thank you. I hope this isn't about my quarterly reports because I was really looking forward to a spreadsheet-free evening." He chuckled, but there was a warmth in his eyes I hadn't noticed before. "No, it's not about work. At least, not entirely." The waiter arrived with a bottle of Chateau Margaux, my favorite wine. My stomach flipped. How did he know? The conversation started light, filled with easy laughter and old stories, but as the night wore on, something shifted. An unspoken weight settled between us, a tension I couldn't quite name. Finally, after the plates had been cleared, Daniel leaned forward slightly, his voice lower. "I need to ask you something, and I want your honest answer." I held my breath, nodding. "I'm retiring at the end of the year." My heart sank. I had worked alongside Daniel for 20 years. He was more than my boss, he was my friend. The thought of him leaving left an unexpected hollowness in my chest. "But that's not why I asked you here," he continued, watching me carefully. "I've spent a long time thinking about what my life will look like once I step away. And the more I think about it, the more I realize there's someone I don't want to leave behind when I walk out of that office." A lump formed in my throat. "Daniel!" He reached for my hand, his touch warm and steady. "I don't just admire you, Evelyn. I care about you more than I probably should." I froze. My boss, my level-headed, always in control, never out-of-line boss was sitting across from me, telling me he had feelings for me. "I never said anything before because I didn't want to cross that line," he admitted, a wry smile playing at his lips. "But now, as I look ahead, I realize I don't want the future to be without you." My mind spun. I was 62 years old. Romance wasn't something I had considered in years. After my divorce, I had convinced myself that love, companionship, those things were behind me. But sitting here, looking into the eyes of a man who had been by my side for so long, I realized something. I wasn't just shocked. I was afraid. Because deep down, in a place I hadn't allowed myself to explore, I knew he wasn't the only one who had been pretending. That night, sleep didn't come easily. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every detail. The way he looked at me, the way his voice softened when he spoke my name, the way my own pulse had betrayed me when he touched my hand. Had I truly never thought of him this way? Or had I just buried it so deep that I refused to acknowledge it? The next morning, I arrived at the office early, hoping for a moment to collect myself before facing him. But as soon as I stepped inside, I saw it. A single red rose sat on my desk. No note, no explanation, just a silent message waiting for me to respond. I didn't need to read his words to know what he was asking. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the delicate petals, feeling something stir inside me. Uncertainty, fear, and something else. Hope. Just then, a familiar knock sounded at my door. Morning! I turned. There he was, standing in the doorway, his expression unreadable. I swallowed hard. Morning! He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. Did you get my gift? I glanced at the rose, then back at him. I did. He studied me, waiting. And? I exhaled slowly, folding my hands in my lap. And, I don't know what you expect me to say, Daniel. A small smile tugged at his lips. I don't expect anything, Evelyn. I just want to know what's going through your mind. I hesitated. Honestly, I feel like my whole world tilted last night. For 20 years, you were my boss, my friend. And now, suddenly, you're asking me to see you differently. His gaze remained steady. Is that such a bad thing? I opened my mouth to answer, but no words came out. Because the truth was I didn't know. Daniel leaned forward slightly. I'm not asking you to rush into anything. I just want you to think about something. When was the last time you considered what you wanted? The question hit deeper than I expected. Maybe it was time to find out.